Hello everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome to the MCN for Wednesday. There's so many things to go over. I had to take some of the things that were going to be in the show and put them and bump them to Friday. We're going to be talking about Alliance Raids rewards, Alliance Raids in general, Prime Gaming loot, somebody being really honest about ban. We've also got an AI change. If you're paranoid about the way that AI functions in this game, guess what? Kabam have changed or rerouted a fix. They've taken it back to how it was before. We'll talk about that. So a bit of a reminder for anybody that has Amazon Prime, you can get the free loot, which is the following: a 3-star bullseye, as well as some energy refills, and as well a stay on target Cavalier Crystal. It is available right now, so if you want to go and claim it, you do have the option. It's called the infamous Bullseye Bundle. There was a bit of a discrepancy of its availability, but of course it's available now, so go and check that out. There'll be a link in the description, which I think will take you to there. Now, just quickly onto, or talking about again, the glory situation. If you don't know already, it is completely fine for you to grab the glory that you have in your inventory. Whether or not you've got a lot, a little, or whatever. It also confused a few people because it, more arrived. And why would more arrive? Well, the further you go up on the kind of peak milestones, the more you get. So, look, I think it's going to come to a point where I talked about 9,600. I think somebody even talked about the idea of, well, I've got 26,000 glory. So it's not a little amount of glory, it's a hell of a lot of glory. And of course, there's many things to kind of point out with this, that you can redistribute that into some of your stuff. We're going to see a good example right about here. So literally, like, and as Piccolo kind of showcases, you could literally like have your tickets for Alliance Raids restocking up right now for future endeavors into Alliance Raids. That's really important. That's paying for your entry. Kabam literally paid for your entry. And we're going to talk about why that's going to be so important, even though some people are very undecided about that particular game mode in a moment. But at least gives you a bit of an idea of like, hey, look, loads of glories coming your way. And as Command Mike said yesterday, not working as intended, but consider it a nice bonus this week. Which, look, in first impressions, I was like, hey, this is good news for Kabam. But it's further good news because it is just so much glory. I mean, I haven't even like checked recently into my game to kind of see what the crack is with how much I've got to kind of like claim. And I think it's a good chunk so far. And it's getting more chonkier as the time goes on. Yeah, it's getting really chonky. It's getting really chonky, especially because we're at this point recording this video at the 82 mil milestone. So I'm like, yeah, this isn't right, but hey, look, I shouldn't complain. I am going to make sure as well to kind of like claim this as I go. And do bear in mind, you do have 6 days in order to claim it, but it is worth kind of balancing that with spend, and also when the store resets. So when the glory store resets, so do make sure to kind of like, spend, acquire, grab, hoard, change, buy, and all those things that are going to be important about not going over your limits when it comes to claiming that glory. But in any case, let's move on to the next story. Our next story is AI. Look, if you didn't, or you weren't paranoid about Marvel Contest of Champions and the way that the AI moves, functions, and acts, then hey, be further paranoid about those things. So Kabam have said that AI throwing fewer specials and reparrying issue situation. We recently made an adjustment to the Defender AI that aimed to reduce the number of reparries that the AI was carrying out. And while that was successful, it also made the defenders less likely to throw their special attacks, which was not a good experience for summoners. We have undid the fix to reparry situation, which should revert AI to throwing their special attacks more often, but this does mean that they may reparry attackers that use a 2-hit medium attack again. So that's kind of like, again, this is a problem. I'm talking about it. We'll finish reading. We aim to fix this behavior again in the future when we are confident we will not have a knock-on effect with other areas of the game. But this is the biggest issue. Like, this is the biggest fundamental problem with Marvel Contest of Champions. AI. It's always been an issue, and it's never been something that's felt like it's at a point it's good. What is good? And of course, that's like a tangible thing. Like, how do you quantify what is good with AI? There are going to be times in the past where I've definitely kind of said, do you know what, this is really good AI. And that would mean something like, the champion, the enemy champion, the defender, flows at you very easily. Do you remember the times when it used to be a case of like you could get a champion against the wall, swipe back and do a medium to kind of like intercept them and do these very kind of like quick, snappy rubber banding intercepts? Well, those days seem to be fundamentally gone, and that was kind of like at the peak of when this was a thing. You can theoretically do it, and this is a problem that I had. Like when I was speaking to my kind of, I'd say, colleagues in Alliance Raid, I did say yesterday that I was experiencing issues with the AI for Thanos, right? Today, different case. And I don't know if this kind of triangulates when this was put in, but the AI at times in game is at its worst. And this is something, again, further to like discussion. As I've said, like I did a community tab post. Legacy was mentioning some stuff about, you know, what we enjoyed about the fight in Necropolis, but also a stream that I watched of his where he was talking about the AI, and I was watching it, and also I've experienced it, and you've experienced it as well. So there's a lot of things still, like, you know, of an issue with MCOC. Stuff that, if you remember back along, we talked about this on the channel when Kabam were like, oh, do you know what? We won't kind of look underneath the hood on those particular things. However, this is such a big part of this game. If the AI fails and it's not good for players, players don't want to play a game where the AI is bad. The same way you go to Injustice, Tekken, Street Fighter and go, do you know what? This AI is acceptable. No, it's not. So look, there's a lot of things to this, and as I said, if you are paranoid about MCOC AI, look, this is something to kind of like be concerned that there is somewhat of an issue, and Kabam look to fix it in the future. Now let's move on to the most honest admission from a cheat that's now banned that you'll ever see. So this was a bit of an interesting read because I saw this and I was like, oh my word. This player says, so I was permanently banned. It was my fault. I wanted those crypt rewards for Necropolis and I shared my account with an unsavory fellow. He hacked my account and he was also asking me to permanently share my account with him. I would rather have an account banned than permanently share it with such miscreants. My account was my baby, fruit of my... anyway, that stuff there, sentiments. There's been ups and downs. I never stopped playing. The reply to my ban appeal was abrupt and straightforward. Stay away from cheating, guys. And obviously that's the player name. Signing out. Look, I can imagine that Road to the Crypt rewards and kind of like the dangling of the carrot was something that players were like, do you know what, I wanna go for this. But if you're kind of like, I don't know, like, do you put this down to like, is it skill? I mean, look at this way. Like Kabam Mike did 1,000 deaths, but he got through Necropolis. Fair play for doing that. You know, getting through it. Even if you're not super skilled at the game, you still enjoy the game in some sort of capacity. Whether or not you gave, I don't know, 50, 60 deaths, you one-shot a load of champions, you were super skilled, or you won. Like, you did it, and that's the main thing. Of course, there's questionable things with this particular player, and some people have kind of like raises to go, like, well, this dude had some pretty nice champions, so it was kind of sad to see. And this is the player here in his account, and it's wow. Okay, saying goodbye to those champions. Obviously, don't know what the other champions that they had were. Is it a case they weren't ready for it? Maybe, but then that's the thing. If you're not ready for something, don't push yourself. And this is the problem that I've had in the past, where you live by the expectations of other people, or people set these expectations of you that you have to do this. I mean, look, it's tough. I do sympathize with people that want to achieve stuff. Like, I have to be Valiant this month because the stuff that Kabam have done mean that it's going to get better to be a Valiant player than it would be staying at Paragon at this moment in time. I need to be making gains. I need those dailies, those daily crystals, and claim them. I need to get the glory store that's there. I need to get the calendar. I need to get whatever's coming in the future for being a Valiant player, and that is going to be important. That is my goal for this month. I will use, well, I don't want to use all my units, but I'll use as many units as possible to get there. But look, cheating for it is not cool. And of course, this player found out the hard way, and now they are banned. But of course, you know, being honest is important. Could you start again and play? Yes. And this is the problem. And this is the thing. And why it's important, why it's always remembers it, or I always mention this even, is that the reason we talk about this is don't do it. because we see these horror stories of the people that invest their time into this and just go, do you know what, I'm going to give it to a merc here, I'm going to give it to a friend here, the account, and they're going to get you banned. People will use hacks, people will notice on your how the account's been shared, you'll get banned. Don't risk it. It's just not worth it. Now I want to move on to something really cool, and that is the amazing rewards players are taking home from Alliance raids. We'll talk a little bit about some other stuff with that. But look, 7-star Ultron, look, that's pretty cool. We'd all like that. You've seen my video, I've done mine. Somebody's got like 20,000 Titan crystal shards. This as well, 28,500 of tier 6 class catalyst fragments. 1,000, I don't know if this is real, 1,500 units. Is this real? I don't know what's in them, because it's like, I don't think it's you find out the drop rates. But look, it's pretty cool. I think there's a thread, which I'll put a link to in the description, where it's got like a list of things. Like, I didn't know you could get units in it. Like, can it be super spicy? Is it the further you go, the more spicier it is? Like, that is kind of like the crucial thing right there. Oh, it is like 1,500 units. Like that is definitely awesome with it. So fair play to everybody that picked up something super spicy. But of course, where the good with raids, there's also some other stuff. I'm in a bit of two minds. Like, I do think that once the week's up, I'll try and formulate my opinions and thoughts, on which I'm kind of like, I'm very much someone that likes to kind of look at something, dissect it, kind of get some info together, get some ideas, find out what Kabam are going to do about certain pain points for players, and take it from there. And at this moment in time I like it, but I don't love it. So what I like about it is that I like the camaraderie, which is something that I like from the incursion side of things. You know, it's quite nice to kind of be involved, quite intense involved with having a chat with, you know, the other couple of lads that I'm playing with at the moment. You know, shout out to Slay, shout out to Keen, because we just like chat about like, you know, what we're doing. We've chatted about like who we might rank up. We've chatted about, you know, taking on each individual boss. And that's been cool. I like that. So but then there's other things I don't like. I don't like the revive based system on this, and especially because, you know, it's a bit meh. It's a bit meh. As you can use AQ based revives, it's kind of alright, but the AQ ones that especially I've got are kind of ass. So you have to really use the ones that are kind of good. It's like, and if you get hit, oh man, it's game over. And of course, accessing health potions is a bit of a nightmare as well at the same time. But look, at the end of the day, this is what, we 2 days in. Issues will happen. In some ways, it's not going to be too great. What is everyone's thoughts so far on the subject of it? It's also good to see like people using different kind of revives, as well as people kind of like, you know, go on further into it. And what I will do as well is put a link to 21 Egatron's write-up on his thoughts on the subject of raids. And look, like there's a lot of really kind of like good and specific points with this, especially with things that are good and also things that are bad. Especially talking about several things like the damage over time, role options, and also the you know, lack of communication on the bosses. Really interesting dissection write-ups. I'm not going to go over too much in this particular video because we'll be here. The video will just be too long. But it was some really interesting points, especially going back to when it was introduced in Vancouver and how damage over time effects were too strong for the damage modifiers. And also kind of going into specifics of like, you know, champions that work with stuff. And also, as I said, the bosses. There's a lot more to it. Go and check out this particular write-up. But also one final thing to kind of leave you with a point is, does this feel like it's a pay-to-win type element, or these kind of using exponential revives, you know, kind of choosing to units, which choosing to maybe the money side of things, or farming of the farming of arena and units and stuff like that? Your thoughts on this matter in the comments down below. And we're going to end the show on Bullseye and Sorcerer Supreme arena predictions. My predictions are 120 mil for Bullseye as a 6-star. This comes close to some recent arenas where I kind of feel like if a lot of people are chasing for the champion, it might go high. 5-star version, 40 mil. I think that would probably fit in well. Sorcerer Supreme as a 6-star, go with 20 mil, but it could go lower. Same thing with the 5-star version, probably 11 mil, but again, could go a lot, you know, smaller than that. But that's been my predictions. That's been the show for today. I thank you very much for watching and supporting. Make sure as well to check out some other content located on the screen, and I'll see you all in the next video.